What's going on, everybody? This is Childish. We're back at it again to give you guys that answer y'all been waiting for. Why in the world did I 6-star this crappy rune, right? Well, we're going to get into that today. I think today is going to be Saturday. I'm making this video a little ahead of time, so Saturday should be free rune removal day, and if you're on the global server, you're about a few hours in, so you've taken a little bit of time to reorganize your runes, create those teams, and start testing out those teams. Of course, we still have, quite a few hours left to go. So now you're going to have the option of, taking basically what's left and seeing what you could do. Whether you can set it aside or whether you can try to utilize it in some other unit or team composition. The reason why I bring that up for you all today is because of the recent addition to the game, the Siege Wars, right? When it comes to Siege Wars versus Guild Wars, though, the biggest thing that we have to consider is the fact that we only can use one monster one time, right? So, building, either an additional monster or even a duplicate of a monster you already have might be beneficial for you. But the biggest question that we're going to ask for you today is what kind of things or what kind of criterias should we consider when, building one of these monsters here? And probably the biggest thing out of all of them is going to be the versatility for me. When it comes to monsters that you're trying to incorporate in the Siege Wars, you're going to be looking at ones that you can get a ton of value, and you're going to hear the word value quite a bit. But versatility, I'm talking about, can you use it offensively? Can you use it defensively? Is it some kind of a monster that actually can play a support role and provide some damage? They have multiple, things that they can do with their kit. Okay. Next one is probably going to be the rune requirement, and I would say the efficiency of the rune. Does the monster require like a heavy amount of runes, or can it just get a good amount of value from the stats? Is it something that has to have violent will or it's not going to work? Or is it something that you can literally put the most efficient broken runes you have on it and do just as good as somebody that has the perfect setup, right? The third thing to consider is going to be the skill up requirement, which basically means how important, or when we're thinking about some of these easier to come by monsters, how obtainable is it to get the skill ups that you need? Is it some kind of top tier unit where you need Devil Mind in order to, basically skill it up like an F5? Or can we consider making certain monsters that are 2-star, 3-star, or even obtainable 4-stars and, get those skill ups relatively quickly by means of just regular summoning, the magic shop, or even the fusion hexagram? All those things will come into play taking a look at these monsters. And then, of course, last but not least, we're not going to be building the monster unless it's meta relevant. So when you're looking at these monsters that you're looking to build, is it going to be usable in what you're currently seeing in the meta today? The meta is always revolving, but if you find yourself more often than not being able to have this unit as an option or this team as an option, and you can use it in other aspects of the game, might as well go for it. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to actually showcase you a quick list here of the monsters that my Epic Fail community have kind of put together that kind of fit somewhere in this category. But we're only going to take a little bit of time to talk about, just 2 to 3, maybe even 4 monsters, just to give you guys a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about. And then I will showcase this bad boy, pointed over here, this bad boy that you see right here, who has some, well, I mean, the stats are okay now, but I mean, if you look at some of these runes, you're going to be like, wow, like, did you see it? Like, if you saw the 4 slot, you would cringe pretty hard. It's pretty bad. So, and you're gonna know the reason why, this monster is now in my monster box and now has, these runes. These are all, that are on them. They're leftover runes that I would have never thought I would have used, right? Okay. So, top of the list, right? The monster that you guys already know cannot be beaten by any other monster in this particular category of these 4 things to consider has to be Kamoon, okay? Kamoon the Fire Anubis here. Now disregard my set, okay? Disregard my set, but let's talk about the topics. The versatility. This can be used on offense. This can be used in defense. Easy. The rune requirement or efficiency of the runes, right? The rune requirement, there is no specific rune requirement. What you're looking for is a ton of HP, right? You're looking for a ton of HP. You're looking for a decent amount of speed, right? And if you can get a little bit of defense, great. If you can get a little bit of critical rate to get a little bit more value out of your second skill, that will give you that life tap and give you more, HP back, great. But ultimately, the big thing is that you're looking for a ton of HP with a decent emphasis on the speed and critical rate. And of course, because of that, you don't need no violent set, you don't need no despair set, you're just looking for whatever random runes you can get it. Most of you guys have these kind of runes sitting around in like arena or something like that with like crazy high resistance or whatever. You can literally take those arena like runes, throw them on here, maybe find a couple that have a little bit more speed so you can, you know, get this passive shield, you know, up a little bit quickly. But overall, the rune requirement for him is not super huge, and you can take some of those other key runes that you have that really need to be combined with other rune sets in other, you know, teams that you want to go ahead and use. Let's go ahead and talk about, you know, when it comes to this guy, the skill up aspect, right? The skill up aspect, even though he does, you know, get a little, it does make sense to skill this guy up and get that second skill on a 2-turn cooldown. If it's in at a 3-turn cooldown, it's honestly not going to hurt you all too much. The value really is going to come from him generating his turns and providing the passive shield where you guys need it the most on that low HP monster. I mean, it's super strong because again, it's, even though we have a lot of things that get considered when it comes to RNG, that part of RNG is never going to disappoint you. He's always going to put the shield on the lowest monster that's getting hit. So, and then last but not least, is it meta relevant? Obviously it is. He's such a pain to basically take down. With regards to Guild Wars and Siege, he's providing a guild speed lead for 24%, and speed is king. We already know that. So there's a lot of reasons to go ahead and consider this monster for using them in Guild Wars, Siege, or even for some of you guys that are having fun with the 4-star RTA right now, you know, playing around in that 4-star RTA composition. So next one up, we're going to go to my favorite monster. You guys already know I'm going to talk about here, which in my eyes did not rate as high as Kamoon, and I'm going to explain to you why. Okay, so Orion, the water branded magician. Versatility, it meets the criteria. This is something that one would definitely consider to build if you're looking for an additional monster for, you know, Siege offense or Siege defense. But the rune efficiency or the rune requirement is going to be a little bit higher versus like a Kamoon. Why is that? Because in this particular situation, this monster is providing that attack bar increase, you know, the ability to remove harmful effects and provide some, you know, stuns and defense breaks, the hit point deserves, you know, all that goodness here. But I think of it is that in order for you to take advantage of certain compositions that are pretty much meta right now, he has to be relatively fast. And not only does he have to be fast, he has to, you know, have that third skill, you know, combined, or third skill maxed out here. So this kind of goes to not just the rune requirement of being fast, but also the skill up requirement. Can you get away with this? You know what? Maybe you can make an argument, say, yeah, you can get away with this, but 3-turn cooldown versus a 5-turn cooldown unmaxed, like most people, and me including, will always recommend not even getting into this monster until you have that third skill maxed out. But the reason why I still rate it relatively high is because if you are a late game player, and of course this video is going to be related to the late game player, this is not a beginner video, you have had, you've been around for maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years plus, you have had the Draco, you've had the Aquila, and you've had the Gemini HOHs. So some of you guys are like me, where I'm sitting back here with like 12 skill ups, but actually I don't have an extra Orion. If I had an extra Orion, I would use those skill ups to go ahead and just use as many as I can to get the third skill maxed out and save the rest, right? So yeah, he's obviously super good, but of course, you know, because of the fact that he is going to require you to have a relatively fast set. You want to have obviously some effective HP when it comes to him, but the biggest thing is going to be speed, so you can get that first turn and use your other two monsters, whatever you're trying to do, YOLO comp or a little bit more mid-range comp. You can, you know, take advantage of it and you know, try to use RNG that's going to be coming from this monster in order to upset your opponent here. But again, I still love this monster because of the fact that the RNG between the third skill and the first skill, generating additional turns so you can get right back into the third skill, is super strong, and I want to go ahead and mention to it. Okay, next one up here is going to be Chilling, which essentially is a hard counter to the number one, you know, monster on this list here. Chilling, for those of you guys may have tuned in, may are new to the game or whatnot, if you haven't heard about this unit already, I don't know what you're doing right now, because if you've been checking out any of my channels, like I literally use Chilling every single time. Okay, Chilling's passive steals the beneficial effects, and the more beneficial effects you have, the more attack speed gets increased here. So when it comes to versatility, this does not really meet the criteria, right? This is great on offense, but this is not something that you're going to be using on defense. Why is that? Because if you got somebody that is bringing a monster that is stealing beneficial effects or whatnot, obviously you're not going to create a composition that's heavily reliant on that. You're looking to create a composition or use a composition that you can take full advantage of with regards to what you're leading to. You're not going to create a comp that is essentially going to be something that they're like craving for you to go for, unless they misdirect you with something. But that's for another topic, right? So obviously the versatility is not going to be there, but the rune requirement, I feel like it's right up in line with Commune, right? This is not something that you need to have some crazy violent set or some crazy swift set. Honestly, if you're a late game player and you have a lot of efficient runes that have a wide variety of stats, whatever it is, speed, critical rate, attack, HP, defense, all the main criteria, accuracy, anything right now, you could take full advantage of it. And I'll actually showcase this runes because that's what I basically did. These are some of these runes are pretty efficient when it comes to these stats here, and you're going to be able to see this one. Probably my top two being right over here, top three and whatnot. All of these runes are just kind of standalone runes for certain situations, but the combination of this gives me the amount of speed that I want without going speed on 2, gives me a ton of defense, a ton of HP, and I can do really, really well with it, with regards to who I'm going for. Sure, I would like a little bit more accuracy, but honestly, guys, you can get away with not too much accuracy when it comes to this particular unit here. So super good. And going back to the skill up requirement and the meta relevancy, we already talked about that. Super meta relevant with regards to all the communes that you see in the current meta. It's perfect. It's a perfect tar counter for it or any other monster that's providing beneficial effects. And then, of course, in addition to like the skill up, this is another unit that's similar to Commune, where he has that passive and you don't have to have him skilled up to take advantage of the passive that is coming into play here. While you can skill it up and reduce this one from a 4-turn cooldown to a 3-turn cooldown, all you're worried about is essentially is getting that passive, utilizing sponsor to take advantage of that passive here. And of course, the cool thing about it is everything you steal is going to come into full play because the more buffs you have, the faster you are, and the more opportunities you will have to refresh your second skill and of course take away those beneficial effects here. But also kind of going in line, I want to take a step back here to the Orion here. Orion is the let me go ahead and get to the one I was going to look at here. The next one is we're going to talk about Kali here. So Kali, he's one of those monsters that I did not use for quite a bit of time, but obviously there are certain units and whatnot that I generally have a hard time dealing with, and because of the fact that I already have incorporated all my best defense based runes for my ignore defense monsters, my bulldozers, my copper. I'm trying to think about what other ways or what other units that I can build that may not be defense scaling but may be attack scaling, because I have extra random attack scaling runes that have high critical rate, critical damage, good attack, maybe not the speed that I can take advantage of. And of course, Kali is going to be like the #1 unit to go for, right? So you guys already know what this unit brings to the mix, so it's obviously don't have to go for it. But again, the versatility, it's not too good, right? Because of the fact that it is, you're not going to use this on defense. You're going to use it on offense. The rune requirement and whatnot, this is where I believe he shines. Now, again, don't get it twisted here. I'm throwing these runes that you see right here. Okay, you already know what this one is because you saw it probably in the thumbnail, but these runes are obviously not the greatest of runes here. Maybe a little bit critical rate or critical damage where we need the most, but I'm really struggling to get overall HP, speed, or whatnot. But it's an attack-based monster. That's not something you're thinking about all the time. But after the last few years and the grindstones and enchantments coming into play, like the effective HP is a pretty important thing if you're looking to go a few more rounds, not just hit it and quit it with some of these quick teams or whatnot here. And so when I thought about Kali and the current situation that I'm in, I can definitely incorporate him into certain compositions that allow me to prevent the first turn, allow him to buff, and then snipe one of the 3 monsters that are currently in siege in order to get the job done and take the win. And then, of course, depending on the composition that I bring, if I can have an element that can essentially draw attention from the other 2 out of the 3 monsters, then I'm sitting pretty good. So this one here, rune requirement or efficiency of the runes, like honestly, there is a decent amount of rune requirement in the aspect of the attack, critical rate, and critical damage. But if the HP is not there, it's going to be okay. If the speed is not there, honestly, it's going to be okay. Like you're going to bring something else to prevent the first turn, like a Chloe, or you're going to use some kind of buffer, whatnot here. Research kind of monster like a Konami or a Tian. You can use something like that and still get the job done. Like for example, like obviously this is not the best example here because we do have a high speed. But honestly, if I had just critical rate and critical damage here, I'd be fine. Would HP benefit me? Sure. Would I mean any stat, right? HP. I don't say defense, but HP, speed. All those would be beneficial in some way, shape, or form. But is it necessary for the composition that I'm trying to create? No, I don't think so. The critical rate and critical damage is important on this. All the other runes, I'm looking to get the same 2 stats in addition to the attack and critical rate, or sorry, the attack power that I'm looking to get. So I can get a lot of value out of this. And so again, taking a look at that list that we brought up a little bit earlier, there's a ton of monsters that I feel that are that can fit in this category. Excuse me, a ton of monsters that I feel, and of course, on behalf of my community, the Epic Fail community, that we feel that you guys can take advantage of if you have the spare runes or whatnot, depending on what you're currently seeing or what we are currently seeing. You can take a full advantage of. I'll throw in one more here. Lucian, this is a no-brainer, right? A lot of us at the later stages of the game have been fortunate enough to have double Lucian. So when it comes to double Lucian, sure, you can essentially use 2 of your Lucians for 2 different offenses, right? And so the cool thing of it is that maybe you have the attack bar booster that you use for your first Lucian, like a Bernard, Megan Lucian or something like that. But then for your second Lucian, what do? You don't have to, if you have a fat Lucian, or if you have a Lucian that has great stats but doesn't have the speed to get right behind your speed booster, then you can use a Konamiya or a Tian or something of the sort. If you're lucky enough, a Dover or a Dova, excuse me, fail. You can use that to go ahead and take full advantage of the rune requirement on those particular monsters, the speed that you need on those. Take advantage of it with a lower speed Lucian, and still go after the opponent if the majority of their composition is wind, water, or light and dark based, whatnot. So the cool thing about this is that again, it sounds like a silly kind of argument to make. Obviously you're going to build a second Lucian out there, but when you guys are going back and forth here, it's something to think about, because you have a lot of compositions that you're currently going for. But is a Lucian going to counter everything that you see currently in maybe the 4-star siege defense? But maybe it won't. We see a lot of fire heavy compositions right now. But is a Lucian, are you going to get a lot of value out of it? Is it meta relevant? Of course it's meta relevant. It's one of the best non-nat 5 units in order to do well with regards to the arena. It's one of the best units out there for clearing stages like GB10 and MB10. You can speed clear just about anything that you want to with regards to TOA, Hall of Heroes. I mean, there's so many different options for this particular unit. I'm not even gonna go into the list here, but you guys gonna get what I'm talking about here as far as this goes here. If you got those extra runes, definitely take a look at some of these units here. But more importantly, let's see what you guys have to say when it comes to certain monsters that you feel are meta relevant or versatile, have a low rune requirement or skill up requirement. What are some of the monsters that you feel would be recommendations that you would put out to the community to go ahead and build if they're looking for creating some additional compositions for Siege? Because as you guys know, those later stages of the Siege Wars where you're very, very limited on units, you start using these tier 2, tier 3 monsters that don't really connect or synergize well, but you're desperate. You're trying to do everything in your power to get that win, when honestly you can take a little bit of time to build the right monster with these extra runes that fits in that team and you can go ahead and secure that win, you know, for your team, for your guild or whatnot. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys find this useful. If you did, please feel free to smash that like button, share it with your friends or whatnot here. I know this is super late. Well, it's super late for me, but you guys are seeing this on free rune removal day. So I hope it's been beneficial to you. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since the focus was around Kali here with regards to that rune that I showcased earlier, I'm going to go ahead and show a clip of my stream where I basically take Kali with another 2 units there and take on a full nat 5 composition, and I didn't have 1 nat 5. So while that team is kind of, you're gonna see it, you're gonna be like, oh my god, you got one monster that makes it easy. But if you look at the monster and if you think about some of the free-to-play options you could get, like, you're gonna know why it can still work here. Okay, guys, so that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish, or ChildishPlays, checking out. Take care, and we will see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Like, if I can get super lucky and keep my Kali alive for a few turns, then that might be okay. But because I think my Kali's gonna do 43, like 43, 44. Maybe if I go Kali, Chloe, and then bring some kind of I'll bring a dark base unit. Check it. We'll bring Beta. Give this guy a target, and we should be fine. The only downside is that if Wusa goes for Kali, like, we're screwed, right? But between the revive and the Chloe, we might be able to do it. Sounds kind of weird, but it actually might work. Does my Kali have runes? Yes, it does have runes. Yeah, it's not the greatest of runes, but it does have runes here. So, all right, let's try to see. It's kind of, I think it's a little bit of a waste here as well. But if the Wusa, I mean, he has the option, right? It's not like it's set to go for Kali. Maybe if we're lucky here, we can remove the shield. Oh, rip the dream. All right. So let's go ahead and buff up here. Yeah, we're gambling here right now. The Frank and the light golem would work. Ooh, yeah, that would have been a long fight though if I brought like a water Frankenstein. You must be talking about like bulldozer or something like that. So, all right, let's go ahead and we'll just tap on Mr. Artemil.
Look at Stoic. Asking if I got my hair did.
You got the hair did,
Hashtag
yeah.
noticed. Yes, I did.
You like that.
Thank
you like that.
Thank you very much. I did. I chopped it quite a bit. That's what he noticed.
Right. No doubt.
Whatever. It's my hair.
It's a hair.
I do what I want. But yeah, I did get it done earlier today.
Is it just me, or should I almost think now I should go for Artemil? Because if I go for Artemil, all the counterattacks that are going to be coming into play. I don't know. It's so funny because I normally don't sit like this on this. I don't bank on this one, but either way, Feng Yang's going to go. Let's see if we can take out the counterattacks. Let's try to take out Artemil. And let's see what happens here. I feel like we know that Feng Yang is going to go for Beta. The defense break is in, so we're kind of in trouble here. But we got the critical production. We got 2 healers here. We might be able to do this here. Plenty of heals. We just can't hit Feng Yang. We should be good, right? Ninja Muffin Zone. He says you were wrong. I don't know what you're talking about if I'm wrong here. But we need one more turn. One more turn. To basically, all we need is Beta to stay alive for one more turn, and we're doing it. I think I did make the good choice here. So we are going to heal up Beta.
Apparently.
GG.
You told Ninja Muffins he wouldn't make it to 80, but he's on 95. It's good.
Say what?
You told Ninja that he wouldn't make it to 80 and he's on 95.
Nice, nice. Hey, I'm glad that you were able to get by. I'm glad you were able to get by. Kiruzio, thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. We are just sitting back here watching me noob out here, taking 2 years longer than is needed to choose our targets here, but It looks like we might get the win with the weirdest non-Nat 5 comp you guys have ever seen. Now, mind you, this is something that I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little proud about because I just put on my Kali runes like the other day, and these runes are horrific. They're so bad, but they get the job done. You know, if you got a team that's gonna prevent the first turn, or if you got a Konamiya that you can pair up with a Kali, like Kali is a great option. Dare I say I should make a duplicate? Huh? Now all we need is have that true RNGs right now, and try to get that crit, the water crit. You okay there? Am I too loud?
Yes.
Okay. She's checking in. She's letting me know. I was like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
turn it down a notch.
Well, if you're gonna call it out like that, I'll just say it to your face next time. It's trying to be subtle, but
Subtle. She's like, shh.
it's not even what I did.
I know.